The fourth generation Sorento has been available since 2020. Today, the dealer offers the only comfort package with a 2.5-liter engine and automatic transmission. But other modifications existed and continue to exist, both diesel and with robots. It is the operation of the robotic gearbox that many owners complain about. Kicks, jerks, and that's all. The problem can be solved by replacing the firmware and adapting it, and the manufacturer has released several firmware versions. Sometimes situations arose when after the first update the software became better, but far from ideal, and the next firmware again led to a deterioration in the behavior of the box. However, in the end, the kicking of the transmission was overcome. Another common malfunction that Sorento owners encounter is either a creaking or rustling sound when turning the steering wheel. The reason for the extraneous sounds lies in the steering shaft bearing. In some cases, lubrication of the unit helps, but more often a warranty replacement is required. For some, the bearing is replaced; for others, the entire steering column is replaced. Headlight fogging is also a common problem. Dealers fight it in the simplest possible way. They fix bags of silica gel inside the lids. And it does help, because those car owners who have had this procedure done stop complaining about sweaty headlights. Some Sorentos suffer from a rattling rear seat back. But as is the case with cheaper cars, wrapping electrical tape around the locking lock bracket does not help here, because the locking occurs in the folding mechanism. And in the same mechanism lies the reason for the knocking a bearing in which there is play, which is why the backrest slightly walks left and right. I have good news for you. Now, if you are planning to buy a used car, or learn more about your car, you no longer need to search for the information you need on the internet. We have collected everything in one place for you, on the website carmi.pro. Here you can find out everything about the car, what brakes and at what mileage, any problems with engines, chassis or gearboxes, which trim levels are better not to mess with, and how not to lose money buying a used car. You will learn all this on carm.pro. Some operational nuances also raise questions. For example, when replacing the cabin filter, owners discover that their cars have the simplest and cheapest filters installed. Why is this so in an expensive car? They ask a reasonable rhetorical question. Some note the poor quality of the windshield, on which traces of almost sand remain. Many people prefer all-wheel drive crossovers, even if 99.9% of their entire service life is driven exclusively on asphalt. They say it won't hurt in winter if you need to get out of a snowdrift. Judging by the reviews of the owners, a Korean 4WD may not help in winter. Several people wrote that after 10 seconds of slipping in the snow, errors lit up on the dashboards of their cars, and the all-wheel drive turned off. As a result, they had to turn to neighbors for help, who pulled the crossovers out of the snow captivity with ordinary single-wheel drive cars, although in theory everything should have been exactly the opposite. What the hell are age problems when cars are 2 years old? You say. And here they are. This spring, several owners of the 2021 Sorento wrote that the air conditioning in their cars stopped cooling the air. During a visit to specialists, it was discovered that all the elements of the air conditioning systems were in order, but 150 to 200 grams of the required 800 grams of Freon remained in them. Refueling and everything was functioning normally again. A year or two later, and on some cars the sunroof malfunctions. It opens, but without the help of a hand to push it, it refuses to close completely. This problem can be eliminated by cleaning and lubricating the guides. Also, after 2 years of operation and a mileage of 60 to 80,000 kilometers, a serious malfunction at first glance overtook several diesel cars, which at some point literally refused to drive. On one of the cars, specialists from the dealership spent a week looking for the cause of the breakdown, although in the comments to the entry about it in the logbook, the Sorento owners, who had already gone through this, diagnosed it much earlier. The problem is a broken EGR valve flap. There are also records of specific breakdowns, the cases of which are literally isolated. Thus, on one of the cars, already at the beginning of operation, creases appeared on the upholstery of the passenger seat, made of eco-leather. The case was declared under warranty, and the chair was replaced. The same owner had one of his keys broken. The button to open the car stopped working. Under warranty, they issued and registered another key. A 1-pixel vertical stripe appeared on the media system screen. The owner of one of the Sorentos discovered this problem in her car. I contacted the dealer. They said that it was necessary to remove the display and take it to Moscow for repairs. Almost everything described above happened in Russia. History is silent about what happened next, but later entries in the logbook show photos of the screen in which there is no stripe. The list of troubles that the owners encountered was quite long, and yet the Sorento cannot be called unreliable. It has characteristic faults, but they are not critical and are quickly fixed under warranty. Recall campaigns are also being carried out to avoid potential problems identified in individual nodes. Thus, on many cars, thermostat housings that could leak were replaced, fuel pipes were replaced, and other work was done.